server systems and web-based databases. The advantage of client-server systems is improved security. Could this also be a disadvantage? Why or why not? Yes, this can be a disadvantage. If a client connects to a server and leaves that connection open to the server, it can provide an entry point for bad actors to gain access to the server and cause issues. Client-server security, IT training consultant, exorcist. This is a common issue. Various companies I have worked at have made it very clear that when you are not at your computer, you either lock your workstation or turn it off. A disadvantage of client-server systems is a single point of failure. What does this mean? It means the entire system fails if any part of the architecture fails. An example would be if application server dies, the client cannot request data, which means the client has no data to present to the user. Mayurush, 2020. The same as the failure is at the client. The user cannot send the request for data, which means the client has nothing to present. Which situations would you want to ensure that some backup system was in place? From professional experience, I would say any system that stores critical data should have some backup system in place. An automotive company I worked for was ISO 9001 certified. This requires the company to keep their data backed up and cataloged for audit purposes. They would then take that backed up data and have it stored at a secure offsite facility in case anything happened on site. What is scalability? Scalability is the ability of a system to function correctly and without issue as its utilization increases. One way that this can be done is by using load balancing scaling. This distributes incoming traffic to multiple servers, improving response times and resource utilization. Conran, 2015. I have utilized this practice for both application and PostgreSQL servers. I initially started with a single server, but after the scalability upgrade, we used 3 application servers and 3 PostgreSQL servers. This decreased the response times by almost half. In the image, as you can see, a user sends requests to the internet goes to a load balancer, which then, depending on what needs, goes to one of the servers, that then retrieves the data, and then works its way back to the user. What is a backend processor? A backend processor would be a server. This could be an application server, database server, or any other type of server. They do much of the heavy lifting of the requested process. In my career, I've utilized various types of servers to handle the larger load of computing, be it an application server processing complicated algorithms, or a database server querying a large data set. The reason is they usually have more memory and processing power than an end user's computer. What is a front-end processor? A front-end processor is a client. An example of a client would be a web browser. A web browser is a thin client because it only performs the presentation portion of the entire process. This could be Chrome, Opera, Netscape Navigator, so forth. Have you ever used Google Docs to share documents? Have you used any other internet services to share files? I've used Google Docs to share documents, and I've also used OneDrive and Dropbox to share files. My experience with these services has been, for the most part, good. The reason for my good experience is that the service allowed for group collaboration to happen more quickly and efficiently. Research client-side scripting languages, i.e. JavaScript, jQuery, summarize what they can do, and show examples. Client-side scripting allows for more responsive online applications by executing on the client rather than the server side. Client-side scripting, top languages to learn, cram-heat. jQuery is a JavaScript library that simplifies document manipulation, event handling, and other things across multiple browsers. Jazz.Foundation. An example of what JavaScript can do would be an autocomplete form. So when you start typing, the JavaScript code would display the result that match what has been typed so far. As for example, in the image, a address bar. As you start typing out the address, it would start giving you a list of possible addresses to select from. .NET, Ruby on Rails, and Python are programming development frameworks, and PHP is a scripting language for server-side extensions. Research and summarize this type of software. These languages use some processor on the server side that turns the code into something presentable to the user. They all do it in different ways and with different syntax, but the result is the same. All these languages put the processing load on the server side. I have used .NET and its variations in my career, such as ASP.NET, VB.NET, and C#. I've also used PHP and Python. With ASP.NET and PHP, you create the functions on the presentation page or a different page and then reference the functions on the presentation page. With VB.NET and C#, you would create the page using the programming language. You would create the page using the programming language, which a server would then process to display to the client. Thank you.